during incarceration, we happen to become very creative and imaginative because of our limitations.
I'd like to know if there are things in place for those women for long-term care because they had gone through such a traumatic experience to address their psychological needs.
Thank you. I will say also, Pennsylvania just ended the practice of shackling women prisoners while they are going through birth. It's a very important issue. There's a great book called In This Place, Not Of It, that is all about interviews with women prisoners. And, you know, real quickly, I focus on sort of in the movie the criminality of the black male. And I think that's what drives the whole system, and the way we look at race and, you know, class and criminalization all tied together. But certainly we know women are the fastest growing segment of the prison population, and largely for nonviolent offenses. And there's all kinds of other, you know, populations that we should be aware of and focused on that are overrepresented: LGBT people, people with mental illness, Native Americans, and so on and so forth.
So thank you. I appreciate your question. I believe that all people who've been incarcerated are traumatized, not just women. However, when we think about women as a gender, we have to really understand that we're being treated like men. And so the consideration for our many needs are not there, are not in place. And so with this absence, there is nothing in place to address the trauma. And women more than likely experience trauma prior to their incarceration. Usually the reason why they're committing crimes is because they're traumatized or poor or in need to find a way out to take care of their families. You know, so trauma is a big issue, and I believe in a public health approach and a preventative approach. And so how do we heal our families, our communities prior to? There's a lot of healing that needs to happen.
Sure. Perhaps Sophia.
Waged by the Correctional Association and many other advocacy organizations in New York State, we finally got a bill passed, which is the anti-shackling bill, which says that in New York, women who are in labor are not supposed to be shackled. What we have found, though, is despite that, the practice still continues. And so now we have to monitor and push to get the Department of Corrections and Community Supervision to actually cease and desist from the barbaric practice of shackling women. So just getting the legislation is only one piece. Educating the public and putting pressure, again, putting pressure on those policymakers and elected officials is the only way that we're actually going to stop these practices.